All right, hello and welcome to season 2 of the Our Metroidvania Podcast. This is Cauldrath from the Our Metroidvania subreddit and Discord.
Hi, I'm Master. I'm also from there.
Hi, I'm Atcero. I'm also.
Hey.
And this is Professor Q. I am also from there. At this point, I think is probably the best way of saying that.
Yep. So this being season 2, Professor Q is actually a guest.
Yep, this will be my last regular stream. There's a good chance, there's a chance that I might come back in the future if you'll have me. But this will be the last time that I'll be. I'm moving from host to guest this week.
Yep. And so this week we decided we are going to look at a bunch of different trailers for upcoming Metroidvanias and just discuss them.
And right now we're looking at Nightmare King Grim from the Pantheon, right?
Yeah.
Correct. This is Ascended Nightmare King Grim.
He's a little faster. So I fought him just a couple of weeks or like a month ago or something.
Yeah, I think the damage is a little higher too or something.
What would you say the difficulty difference is?
It's pretty similar. Like once you know how to do Nightmare King Grim, it's basically the same thing again.
Just faster.
Yeah, I think they have more health too, or something like that.
That could be rough. So how long did it take you to beat this form?
About 20 minutes.
What?
Well, I had just done the previous one before.
Oh, so you already knew how to do everything. You're in that
Yeah, it's just
mindset
like,
already.
yeah.
Like
It's just the same thing, but harder.
And Sarah's disbelieving what?
Hey, I didn't even beat the final boss of Hollow Knight, so I gave up.
Radiance is what I use to like measure other bosses against until I fought harder bosses. I keep saying this, but my record boss was 4 hours on the last boss of Rabbit's Quest.
Sekiro's last boss took me forever.
I need to play Sekiro.
I've probably spent a long time on Dark Souls bosses, but I don't remember.
Alright, so that's the end of that, so we should probably get to the trailers.
Yep. So
Let's do some trailers.
let's do it. So this one is Souldiers with soul with spelt funny. Looks like this was with the Metroidvania tag, I believe.
Yeah.
So, see how it looks.
Welcome, mighty
I believe this just came out today too.
Choose what kind of legend you want to write. Do you have the spirit of a great soldier? The accuracy of a confident archer? Or perhaps you'll prefer to defeat your foes with powerful magic. Whatever your choice, your quest will lead you through Terragaia's magnificent landscapes. In a world where life and death seem to blur into one, become the toughest warrior, master new abilities, and retrieve powerful artifacts. But don't get too confident. Never underestimate the enemy. They could be more powerful than you imagine. Will you be strong enough to succeed and bring your fellow soldiers back home? Soldiers.
That actually looks really good, not gonna lie.
Looks okay.
So the first question I want to ask everyone is, what class are you going to play?
I would be a scout.
Be the archer?
I usually play melee classes, so. But the mage does seem interesting with the like time stop and things like that.
Zorlo.
I always lean towards mages when I start games, but I probably would start with the warrior just to get a feel for things, because generally that tends to be the class that is the easiest.
I don't know. A lot of games having a ranged attack makes things a lot easier.
It makes it sound like this. And if you want to just put the trailer on repeat, that we can kind of watch through it each time. But
Yep, then I'm gonna mute it for the second time through here.
It makes it sound like the way the trailer presents the classes is that you have to make a choice and you're not switching classes throughout the game.
Yeah, I don't think you are.
I agree.
I think
It
it's
seems-
playthrough wise.
It's a little. I always find it a little strange when archetypes are advertised, because I mean a lot of games have different archetypes. But I mean, yeah, it could be fun to play the game again as a different class.
Yeah. The art
They're
looks beautiful,
a lot
though.
different.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Cauldrath can relate to this, but I grew up with games like Quest for Glory, where you had the 3 classes, and it was always fun to play it through again with a different skill set, just to see how different the game could be. So
The way I usually played those is I picked the
you pick the
thief,
thief.
and then I pick all the stats. So it's just like I can do everything now.
Even when you're doing that, though, you still have your 3 options of how to solve the puzzles. So I always found it fun to replay and try different things.
Yeah, they did a better job in the later games of differentiating them.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if we've ever brought this up, but Heroine's Quest is a great Quest for Glory like that really has a good separation between the 3 classes, making it very good to play all 3. So you know how like in the Quest for Glory, the Paladin was all about honor. If you play the Thief, then you want to get your honor as low as possible to get the achievement. Like if you want to try and get it to 0 by the end of the game if you want to get the achievement. I thought that was fun.
Wouldn't getting your honor lower as a thief be counterproductive, though? I mean, I get they're not supposed to be heroic, but
it's more like karma rather than like your reputation. So it's not that people know that your honor is that low. It just means you're just so despicable at that point.
oh, okay.
Well, it kind of reminds me of how it works in Elder Scrolls. Yeah, no one may know you're a murderer, but the gods do.
Right. Exactly. Now, looking at this trailer, trying to bring it back to this game, not make this all about Quest for Glory, but the caster's ability to slow down projectiles is really neat. I like that a lot.
I like the Storm Eagle looking boss.
I just saw the warrior throw something that looked like the holy water from Castlevania. And of course, the spider boss. That boss.
Yeah, oh.
I feel like that spider boss is in so many games.
Yeah. They just had the
Yeah.
Wyvern, though, too, from Rondo and Symphony, and then Wyvern. Or not Symphony, sorry. Rondo and Portrait of Ruin. Looked like
So
they
who
have
do
a
you think that
Wyvern
lady-
enemy.
Who do you think that lady is in the background, that final scene?
Probably the tutorial NPC.
She has to get people's attention somehow, right?
It's probably like you have to collect a bunch of MacGuffins and then hand them to her, and then she wins the game for you.
Or she's
Maybe-
evil.
Maybe you talk to them and they level up your stats for you.
Like,
Bearer
really choose a
seek
firekeeper.
quest.
Bearer seek quest.
Hey, Cauldrath, thank you for the follow.
Sure, no problem.
And the archer looks like he's very aerial. Like all of his attacks are making him hover in the air.
hmm
It doesn't look like the wizard has that advantage.
I'd be
Yeah.
concerned about using projectile slowdown thing, because in a lot of situations that can actually be detrimental.
Yeah, like Binding of Isaac, I remember my roommate was playing that. And he would have the slowdown. Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
That's
You have the
exactly what I was thinking
slowdown,
of.
And then it screws you over because instead of like, oh, the projectiles are easier to dodge, no, it creates a wall of projectiles you can't get around.
Yeah.
Anyway, the pixel art is gorgeous. I think that the gameplay looks like it has a lot of variety. Oh wait, the wizard just threw something that looked like the holy water, so maybe they have a common set of skills that they share.
Well, if you do get artifacts that power you up, those artifacts, if they are elementally charged like it kind of looks like, it could be, okay, this is the same artifact for all 3 different classes, utilized kind of in different ways.
Yeah. As long as it's different.
Yeah. Also, the archer reminds me, the gameplay reminds me of a Towerfall. I don't know if you guys have ever played that game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We should all play Towerfall.
We should. I love that game so much.
Let's see, is that on PC as well? I have it for PS4.
I had it.
It is on PC.
On PC, I think it's only local co-op though, so we'd need to
Oh, great.
either use the weird Steam thing or
You
like
have to- you mean
bunch
lag
it.
mode? It's really bad. We tried it at the beginning of the pandemic and it just did not work out. We were all being cheapskates with Ultimate Chicken Horse. It's like, we don't all have to buy the game because we can just do what is it called? Let's stream together or whatever.
I still
And
think
it's
we
terrible.
need Hummel Party together, but
No, totally still do that. So
All
it looks like the warrior has like a boomerang thing, or was that the archer that was doing that?
it is so hard to tell. There's so much going on in this trailer.
Well,
Yeah,
so the wizard-
I feel like the wizard looks pretty unique from the other 2, but the scout and the archer look pretty similar.
I'll have to look at him again to see.
One last playthrough and then move on to the next.
Sure. All the different soldiers on the that last screen makes me feel like they're gonna pull a fast one on us, and it's actually a roguelike.
I so hope not.
So I was looking at the map, and the map at least looks pretty decent.
Yeah.
I think that the environments are too detailed. Not to say that you couldn't do that with a roguelite, but like that background right there just doesn't seem like a background that you would throw into a procedurally generated environment.
Yeah. I mean, if it's always the same biome, though, it's always gonna have the same background, maybe with some minor differences.
Yeah.
Sure. But I don't know. It looks pretty detailed to me.
Oh yeah, the
It could
archer
be,
did a
though.
chakram thing.
Yeah. He has like a little boomerang thing. I don't know why he needs another ranged attack. I guess I don't know what else his other things would be.
Well, sometimes you just need something that shoots at a different angle. Well,
Sure.
actually, it looks like they can shoot in like any direction, so never mind.
Yeah.
Right? They can only shoot downwards or
Well-
like diagonally. Or
The boomerang seems to linger on them and do multiple hits. So
yeah.
there's that.
It's like the cross. You throw it at that peak timing and then you just hit them 5 times in a row.
The stinking OP cross, you mean?
Love the OP cross.
Gosh, that's such a saving grace to circle the moon.
It is. Next one, Aeterna Noctis.
All right.
Yes.
The one that if it comes out before Silk Sun, we're all mods.
Aeterna Noctis. This is the brand new trailer, right? That just came out.
Yeah, the weapons one.
I think it's pronounced E. You look at that, you want to pronounce it Aeterna, but I'm talking.
Well, it
backwards,
is
I'm sorry.
pronounced, the AE is usually pronounced A. Oh, I have this muted.
We'll go through it
Gotta-
silent once since we're already talking over it, and then we'll play the sound since we've already blown it.
That's fair. Yeah, next one we'll do unmuted. But yeah, no, it should be pronounced Aeterna, in my opinion. Because, I mean, if you look at Daedra from Elder Scrolls, that's the A sound.
I already have thoughts, but I'm going to wait till after we actually listen to it with sound before
Yeah.
making thoughts. This is the controversial one that everybody was saying was way too much like Hollow Knight when they first advertised it.
How about I just restart it with music? Let's
Alright.
let's waste less time.
Okay.
That
So
is
who wants to
like
go first?
this is like
felt-
if Hollow Knight and Castlevania had a child.
That felt like it took 10 years to finish.
It
They're just
was
showing,
really
like,
repetitive.
The
The
same couple weapons.
blacksmith
look-
pounding the anvil repeatedly.
Yeah. Here, look at this weapon, except we're gonna use it in every single biome. Now look at the next one. Do
So-
the same thing.
So, if you want me to be brutally honest on this one, I'm getting bad level design vibes from this trailer.
So am I.
Like the it's too far zoomed out. It looks like they use a tile set thing. There's like this screen right here with
There-
it just looks like these kind of carved out sections, and it's like, okay, the level's done, instead of really
Yeah.
like meticulously putting together an environment.
It looks like they do the thing where they just fit as much level into the space as possible.
Yeah, so it's going to be more about whether or not it's actually fun to fight these monsters. But even looking at that, it looks a little bit loose. I mean, it's polished, but it doesn't feel like that there's a huge amount of impact compared to, some of the other games that I've played. I do like this teleporting power that he keeps using, the one where he like shoots a little lightning bolt and you jump towards it. That looks
Mhm.
neat.
It is nice.
The skill tree looks fun. I like that. I do like skill trees. The overall feeling I'm getting from the level design is that it reminds me of Sundered, except Sundered was a procedurally generated game. I don't think this one is, but I could be wrong.
The Kickstarter demo wasn't procedurally generated, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah. But it reminds me of Sundered, but and I like Sundered a lot, so I could be completely wrong on this. I love the look of these clouds. Those clouds look fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Reminds me more of Death's Gambit than Castlevania.
You think so?
I've never played Death's Gambit, so I couldn't tell you.
Death's Gambit didn't have nearly as much aerial movement, though, that this game has.
No, just like visual. I mean, yeah. Nothing in particular. Not as much as it reminds people of Hollow Knight, but
I just
I'm
think
happy to be wrong about the level design, but I'm just looking at this. I'm like, this is very uninspired looking.
So I did notice that, like you said, that the attacks seem to lack impact. I did notice that there isn't any hit pause on the melee attacks.
Yeah, especially now that we turned the sound off, that's more apparent.
also the backgrounds look really busy.
they are very
I-
busy.
Don't like
Well-
busy background. Stop it.
It's
I
like they're
like that.
overcompensating for their generic level carve outs with the backgrounds.
See,
Like it has that
What
like
does this
lava
remind me of?
falling down, and it's like, is that part of the foreground, and I'll take damage if I go there?
I mean, it's pretty obvious what's part of the level because it's like pretty flat.
So that scythe looks good. However, it looks like it would be very difficult to use because of the huge startup time. I guess it depends on how all the enemies behave.
The jump attack seems like you could use it fine. It's just like when you're on the ground, you're locked into place the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, the enemies all have to be kind of slow, and so far it doesn't look like it looks like they are. Like the enemies don't seem too aggressive from what we've seen.
you guys talk about startup time, yet I'm the person who will use the heaviest weapon in every Castlevania game ever.
See, but the heaviest weapon always comes out behind you instantly. Then you bring it
It
over
does,
your head.
but that doesn't matter for someone who always tries to hit what's exactly in front of them. So that,
At least.
huh?
Go on.
Oh, I was just gonna say that wind-up time to me looks fine. Just for the sole fact, yeah, I'm very used to it.
But
It
you
can be-
probably use mostly jump attacks in Castlevania, though.
Sometimes.
Slow startup times really come down to how the enemies are designed. Like in Dark Souls, I love playing great sword builds and etc. The big heavy weapons, but usually, or the way Dark Souls is a slow game. Like the way the game is designed. So
I was
it works out.
looking at the skill tree, and at least the 3 different paths connect in one spot. It's still 3 different paths that you just choose to go down one of them.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's terribly complex, which is something that Sundered and like Assault and Sanctuary seem like they have a better design for. So who do you think this blacksmith guy is that they keep showing? Do you think it's just because they had this really cool animated blacksmith and they just wanted to
Yes.
fill out the trailer with like,
Probably.
Yeah. Or do you think he has actually any story significance?
They probably have a name and like some quest line for him.
He'll be
Hey,
like
we
the
don't-
master librarian.
We don't have to be super mean to this game.
I'm not
They show a
trying to be
character.
mean.
It's reasonable to assume the character they show is a character in the game.
Well, I assume it's a character in the game. I'm just wondering how important it is. Like, it'd be like if they kept showing Andre the blacksmith in Dark Souls over and over again in the trailer for some reason. I wonder if there's like a, I don't know, you have to forge the Turian door key or something. And that's his whole role. I don't know. I actually don't know what is the mythos that this one's stealing. Is it using Norse mythology or is it making its own thing up?
In this one,
Yeah.
it doesn't look like it draws too much from Norse myths, like from what I can tell.
Yeah.
And not just Norse, but like anything. Is it drawing from any specific mythology or is it trying to?
Looks like it's trying to do its own thing.
Looks
Yeah.
kind of random.
Yeah.
Well, that's just because the level design is.
Yeah, one of the other trailers had something about like this is the like King of Darkness and there's like a Queen of Light and like something created them and then made them have to fight for eternity or something like that.
Oh yeah, we've heard that story before.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not trying to be too down on that. That's just the vibe I got from watching this trailer. Now this is the weapons trailer, right? Like
Yes.
it's specifically made to show off the weapons, I think.
Yes.
Right.
It fulfills its purpose. It's not like
Yeah.
this is just the only trailer for the game.
Sure.
So
So we're
we'll be
judging
many
it
more
based
to
off
come.
of. We're judging it based off of what is basically a pure gameplay trailer rather than an overview trailer.
Yes.
We could show a different trailer if you want.
So
That depends. Do we want to at the very end, or do it now, or continue on?
I mean, we could quickly show it now for a couple,
Alright,
so we're
let
still
me,
talking
let
about.
me... Oh, Paradiso.
Oh yeah, Paradiso Guardian.
This one?
Yeah, let's do this one. As long as we're talking about it. Everybody quiet. Wait, let's do it with the sound first. Well, the bosses certainly look cool.
Yeah.
There are a few points that I think we'll want to pause on.
Tell me when.
Okay.
Well, there's gonna be delay. But, like, pause when they show the map.
So this trailer gives us a little bit of a better idea of what the gameplay overall is going to be like, which is good. A little bit more of the Metroidvania aspect.
Yeah, they showed some platforming that was platforming.
The level,
So they said that there was puzzles. It said like challenging action and puzzles or something, right?
it's coming up soon here, and then they didn't show any puzzles during the part where they showed that subtitle.
I'm just curious what they think puzzles are, because those weren't even activities. Like
right here. Okay, I guess he's jumping over those little blobular things, and then here he's jumping off the bubbles.
Yeah, that's all action.
Yeah, this is just platforming. Look at this level design; is just so.
Yeah, my major concern with this game is that they're going to focus too much on making the game challenging over making it fun.
There's the blacksmith.
Library.
see, he actually exists.
No, I know. I wasn't saying he wasn't. I just wanted to know his importance because I guess because it was the weapon trailer, they kept showing him because weapons or whatever. That map looks ginormous, but the thing is when you do level design like that, it's really easy to just pump it out, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Like it could just be padded.
What's happening in the map is what I'm like wondering.
It looks like it's like a bunch of winding passages and not much. Like this does not look like something I want to actually navigate through. Like if I needed to get somewhere, like there's a lot
to this game.
I know.
It also reminds me of old Death's Gambit with just like kind of really horizontal part of the map that you're going down. But then you have these other parts on the map. I'm just kind of confused as to what I'm looking at.
Well, they don't seem to be cohesive here. I'm going to guess that there's going to be like teleporting around between the segments.
Seems like you enter a door or something and it teleports you to one of those areas.
So like in Super Metroid, how you have to like push R and L to switch between the different sections of the world. It's kind of like they just threw it all out on a flat piece of paper for you instead. Is what this looks like to me.
That's kind of gross.
Yeah, it looks like the level doesn't actually like line up, and so they had to do the thing where they're disjointed.
Right.
Yeah. That's what they did. It's because for the map they just took like screenshots of all the areas, and then they didn't quite work. So they just pasted all the screenshots in, I think, and lined them up the best they could.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's different. It's because I don't think they lined it up so that they all fit together, and so they had to like pull it apart, and they couldn't have done it the way Super Metroid did it because technically that one doesn't line up perfectly either. I don't think. Maybe it does.
But you have elevators that connect it better.
Right. Yeah. So I don't think Super Metroid lined up when you put the elevators like the zones together, but within a given zone, they did line up.
Yes.
Another thing with the map is that it looks like they just have these gigantic rooms that are like gauntlets that you have to go through, kind of what we mentioned earlier with some of the
Look at that one right there.
levels.
So Cricketune says 0 out of 10, not Super Metroid. That's not what we're saying, by the way.
Thanks, Cricketune.
We're just making a comparison. If you look at the top right of that map there, it doesn't line up, and it makes the map a little bit awkward when it's presented this way. I think a better way to have presented it is to divide these out into zones, and then you kind of rotate between them. And it says, exit A goes to map B or whatever. But
it looks like they individually designed just rooms with the most annoying navigation possible, and they just made them all connect to each other. And that's the map. Instead of thinking about how like different rooms relate to each other.
Yeah, it indicates that they didn't think about the world as a cohesive whole as they were designing it.
They're not making a place; they're making level design, or they're making mechanical level challenges, and
Not a
that might not
fun
even
world
work out
with.
to be fun. Yeah, it won't make for a great Metroidvania world. Now the challenges themselves might be good, but looking at like that bottom right section there, that's just a maze.
Mhm.
Yep.
Amazed that you have the map for.
You actually have the map for, yeah. So I don't know. Keep an open mind. It could still be good, but that's just the
Could be.
vibe I got from that first trailer and kind of what I'm getting from it in general.
I mean, the
Yeah.
combat looks like it's good. The platforming looks like it's excellent.
I'm gonna give the combat. I'm going to guess that the combat's probably a B plus at best from what I'm seeing. That is my judgment based off of the trailer alone. My mind can be changed when I get to the game.
Is
but
it a high fit or a low fit?
as far as Metroidvania-ness,
Combat, how it feels.
so I mean, I'd be a combat score. I would say my guess is it's going to be a 3.5 or 4 out of 5 instead of 5 out of 5, which is good, great, even, but I don't know. It could be worse than that. From what I'm seeing, I'm not sold based off of the trailer alone. But I do plan on playing it. So and I have looked forward to this one. But
It
that's just
looks
my
doesn't necessarily look like something I'd want to play.
Yeah, I have a bit of a bias against this game because of the Kickstarter demo. The final boss on it, I discovered after trying it for hours to beat it, that is actually impossible to beat if
Oh.
you don't get the exact right random set of circumstances. Because it has
yeah.
some layered attacks where some of the stuff will fall and then it lingers on the floor, and then another attack will happen, and will occasionally be completely impossible to avoid both the lingering stuff on the floor and the attack. And you only have 3 hits until you die, so it just rolls wrong 3 times and you lose.
That's
Yeah.
a no for me.
This game just doesn't look like it has actual exploration.
Yeah.
But I mean, besides the fact that it has a kind of a lack of sense of place in its level design, the art and animations look fantastic. So there's that.
Yep.
Eh,
You can
He
at least have
looks
eye
like
candy with this one.
Some of them
Alucard
do.
clone.
Yeah, I mean, this particular screenshot doesn't look great because you got the terrible level design in front of it. But
Here, let's see if we can find a better.
Yeah, I did
Still
notice
not good.
that if you look at the upper left corner at the purple circle thing, the icon does change, so I think you can switch weapons on the fly, which can make for some interesting things.
sure, and you can do that in any of the Igabania games post Symphony 2, or I guess post Aria.
Yeah.
You can switch weapons in Dark Souls.
Real-time weapon switching.
Is Dark Souls a Metroidvania?
We're not doing that this stream.
All right, next trailer.
You guys can repeat that every third stream after I'm gone. All right, new trailer.
All right, this one I saw actually on the Facebook group first, and then it appeared in the YouTube when I searched it. It looks cool though, so. That looks really good in my opinion.
It does look good. The very first thing I thought of just with the palette and stuff was Scumhead, the guy who made Vomitorium. One of his earlier works had
Oh.
like very similar kind of grays.
I was reminded of a World of Horrors. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the
Okay.
palette color switching. And I know this game is not going to be anything like that. But
So Cricket Tune 54 said, "What's with the Spanish and Metroidvanias lately?" I don't have an answer for that. I noticed that Metroid Dread was a Spanish team, right?
yeah,
In
yeah, from
Spain.
Madrid.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think it's more that Spain is just creating more developers, and with that population, there's just Metroidvanias coming out of there. I don't know what the other games are that they're making, but I don't know. Maybe Metroidvanias are just really popular in Spain.
As they should be.
But yeah, I know I'm getting this game looks good to me. Obviously, I have a few biases with its 8-bit music and Map of Spain Metroidvania style.
You gotta have an appreciation for the classics and the classically styled. Just saying.
Sure. The palette I think is great. I think it's funny how every single one of these games that have these monochromatic palettes are like you can change the monochrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
an
probably-
option that's there.
Yeah, it's probably
to do, I
not
would
very
say.
expensive. To program it.
Yeah.
So we don't see a lot of the level design in this one, which is probably a good thing because it's not as zoomed out. You don't see much garbage. This actually looks like a place, like that area with the house, and
Yeah.
this feels more cohesive. I don't mean to turn this into a comparison against Eternal Noctis, but this looks promising. I think it really does.
Does look good. I'm a little curious how Metroidvania it actually is.
Yeah.
So
But that kind of thing is hard to tell from
So
trailers.
on the
Plus-
palette screen, it looked like if you go to the menu to the right, it's a map. It had an icon that looked like a map.
Okay. A map
So-
and not a level select is good.
So what this reminds me of the most is Momodora Reverie Under the Moonlight. Like it gives me the same sense it's going to be a similar type of game. However, I did see some wall jumping, so I think that tricky platforming is going to be more of a focus than in Momodora. Isn't the Nabbit from Mario?
Yeah,
maybe?
Cricketune. Also, Cricketune also said someone should make a map of Spain in MV map style. I would not be surprised if it's been done.
I would be surprised.
Actually, how many Metroidvanias take place in Spain? I'm trying to think if I've
How many
played in-
Metroidvanias take place anywhere other than Transylvania or space?
Right.
or Bugland.
Oh
There's
yeah.
a lot of
Hollow
Metroidvanias
Nest.
that don't. There's
Hey,
a lot of
for-
Metroidvanias
for-
that don't take place in those places, but
For all we know, Hollow Knight takes place in Transylvania.
like Yoku's Island Express is on a nice little island. You got Monster Boy, which takes place in the kingdom. I guess a kingdom kind of falls into the same category as Castlevania. But
Everything comes back to
No.
Castlevania one way or another.
Okay, kingdoms have castles, but Castlevania is just the castle.
No, it isn't. Depending on the game, you also explore the countryside, like Simon's Quest. Simon's Quest.
Oh yeah,
Order of
it's mostly
Ecclesia,
castle.
Circle of the Moon, Curse of Darkness, you also explore the countryside. That's 3 Castlevania games right off the top of my head. Oh,
Probably
also,
the only
Bloodlines. Nope, Bloodlines also explores the countries.
Well, there's also like 30 Castlevania games. So.
I'll definitely be wishlisting this one. This one looks really good. I don't know how long
This
since we're just hearing about it. Probably still has 2 years left on it, but
Yeah.
You can actually support the Kickstarter for this right now.
Yes, it just dropped
Awesome.
today.
sweet.
So here, let me actually pull you nerds a link for chat.
Too late. I already Googled it myself.
Oh, too late. I already copied it from their YouTube.
I don't
Yeah,
know if you can copy it that way.
Oh wait,
Does
no. I have to do
Okay,
it.
you have to right click it.
Click and copy link.
There we go.
Yeah, we could do that. That works too.
I'm too fast for you. But yeah, no, this gives me a huge Game Boy vibes. Namely because of the monochromatic and the limited style. But yeah, I'm getting kind of Metroid 2 and Castlevania Adventure Rebirth, or not Rebirth, Adventure vibes.
This to be bichromatic.
So I'm going to tell you guys, I haven't told you this before, but I have psychic powers. When this game comes out, people are going to complain that it's only a monochromatic palette.
Yeah, they will. You know they will.
I paid $20 for this. Why did I only get get one color?
Hollow Knight at least gave me 5 colors.
But it's bichromatic. So you got the red and then the whatever
The purple.
you happen to pick.
Yeah.
You got the monochrome and then you got the extra blood color.
There was also some like cyan.
Oh, if they reach their next stretch goal, there will be 3 colors. Oh my god.
Is that what it says?
I got
that's
it. Here,
what-
let's look at
That's
the
what Cricket
Kickstarter
Tune
page.
said.
Oh.
It might be
I was
true.
gonna say.
No.
I do-
Oh, no, they do have 9
No.
palettes. Yeah, for every 50 retweets, we'll add 1 new palette. So
Oh,
they
so
got,
it has
oh,
6 colors.
look at some of these. These are really pretty. Bounty of the Deep looks gorgeous. Glistening Oil looks amazing.
You better start retweeting this, man.
Dang, gonna have to.
By the way, that sign you saw, Cauldrath, was the blood color.
That's a joke. Made me go to the Kickstarter page, so now you guys get to look at the Kickstarter page.
No, I think that's good.
Color
So yeah,
customization.
I'm feeling Momodora River in the Moonlight with some platforming focus is what I'm getting out of this.
There we go. That is Game Boy time right there.
Oh my gosh, turn on dark mode.
No.
Although being
On
a little bit more
Kickstarter?
aerial seems to be.
Does Kickstarter have a dark mode?
I don't think it does.
It's on your browser.
I have no. It is on dark mode. Technically,
Well, it doesn't look very dark.
is that better? Does that look better for you?
Welcome to the Dark Mode Review official stream. This site does not pass.
Oh my god.
Hey, we
So
know,
next-
we know you use light mode, so
Yeah, you're a filthy light motor. Or in the words of Deltarune, you're a lightener.
I don't know what that means.
Next trailer.
Am I the only one who played Deltarune in this this quartet?
I played Undertale. Is
Ah,
that
I'll,
cool?
ta- I'll
Cricketune,
talk
look
about
at these
that after
posers.
after the trailer.
Alright. This is Afterimage. Oop. That didn't even have anything. But, huge
Yeah,
Castlevania vibes.
I have barely any thoughts about this except that I was entertained by the Google Translate.
What did the Google? Did it have? I didn't even notice that.
It
Well,
was
it just-
translated pretty well, in my opinion.
I don't know. To me, it reads like
Endless dream comes endless sin. Endless dreams come endless sin, I guess.
repeat until redemption is accomplished. Sounds like
It all starts with a memory, right? We're trying to correct the grammar on the.
not to
It would
not
start
to
with
hate
memory,
on this.
and instead of it starting with a memory.
She looks fancy. Backgrounds look great.
Everything
Yeah,
is
the
vibrant.
monsters
Right
look
there.
great.
This Castlevania vibes, just with the character, like a enemy coming down or rolling down a ramp in a tight area. Castlevania vibes.
It's not a very tight area. What do you mean?
Okay, it's tighter than most areas.
Why
Not a lot.
so much sky there?
Not a
That's
lot
not
to
what I
this
mean.
trailer.
Yeah. I'm
There's
not
a lot of-
seeing a lot of branching paths. Like, it looks like it's pretty, like, set piece focused.
Flat set piece focused. The two bosses they show are white room bosses. Their arenas aren't very interesting.
Yeah, I'm
But-
not sure what to think about this.
This
Yeah,
is
it
a
looks like
reveal
it's fairly
trailer as
early.
well.
Yeah, it looks
maybe
like
too
it's pretty
early on to judge that stuff. But I really like the art style. It looks great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think of the art styles that we've seen tonight so far, this has been my favorite of the bunch.
It's very unique.
Yeah.
And it pops.
Looks okay.
Yeah, it's very colorful. That's the other part. Is it's not. There's not enough like really colorful Metroidvanias. I think they're always like dark and dreary. This one has kind of a mystical. You have that fog that kind of makes it
Mhm.
just have an aura to it.
I like how we were like, the previous game was so great because it's monochromatic, and it's like, oh, this one's great because it's colorful. Like, it has a lot of colors.
Okay, well, they're different styles. They're different styles.
You can't have a moderate number of colors. You need either a lot or very few.
You can't be Castlevania. Not enough color, and it's not gritty enough. Just throw it out the window. Bad game.
I am impressed with how the backgrounds seem to flow into the foregrounds, like the level objects. So it makes it all feel like the same piece of as a whole instead of it just being a bunch of tiles on top of a background, which you can often get.
Professor Q earlier. I'm not going to compare everything to Aeterna Noctis.
I
Q
didn't
every
mention
game
Aeterna
after.
Noctis. I was actually comparing to Metroid Dread just now. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Although
okay.
Metroid Dread has had that problem to some degree.
Spoiler.
That's a spoiler.
Spoilers, Metroid Dread has style.
Spoiler alert, you have an opinion about Dread. But I mean, look at this. It looks like it just blends together really nicely. It's very well put together.
It has multiple layers of parallax.
Definitely
Yeah.
has the best looking art.
Yes.
Even though the level design, like in a couple of screens here, there are a bunch of floating rocks in the air. Like this part right here. It's not particularly...
Yeah, it looks pretty gamey.
It's not particularly interesting. It still looks like it fits together.
Eh.
Which is nice. They did a pretty good job with that.
Hey, they do have floating rocks in the background.
Yeah. So it's part of the world. They established that.
Even
very
though they're all
Even
completely
her
uniform
sword is
platforms.
floating there. Maybe like gravity's just arbitrary there.
Or maybe she's telekinesis. Very short trailer, not much to go off of, but it looks nice. They got the art down at least. I'm enjoying the visuals at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art looks good, but art is also not something I'm going to play a game based off of.
Sure. Yeah, one
Yeah,
of the things I
that's-
thought about was Ori when I was thinking about how everything kind of fits together and all the level architecture blends. Ori does that very well as well.
We
Although
all
Ori
know how
had a lot of
Master
problems.
feels.
Ori had a lot of problems with foreground objects getting in the way, and there
Do you-
are a
do
lot
you
of
see the-
foreground objects here.
Do you see all the foreground objects in this game that they're showing so far? There's
Yeah.
a lot of them.
Yeah.
It has a bit of foreground. I'm not sure how much it actually gets in the way, though.
Sure.
Most of
Is
it
that-
looks like it's out of the way.
Maybe that's the same boss fight that they showed because they showed the wolf and it looks like it's the same arena. Maybe the wolf turns into the tree.
Yeah,
thing.
no.
Think
Wait,
so.
you didn't pick up on that? Yeah, that was second phase.
Yeah. That's a weird second phase for a wolf.
Okay, here, let's find that boss fight.
So this is Chinese developed?
Yep. Oh no, I don't want to go to the
They
hates
really
me.
want you to move on to Sono's Curse. Which that sounds also like it's a Chinese developed game, but I'm not gonna...
Also looks like a Hollow Knight clone. Yeah, so it looks like it's a spirit of the forest of the willow trees.
Oh, okay, I see the trees coming out of him now.
Yeah, and then when everything gets set on fire.
Okay.
And then he
okay.
turns into demon wolf boy.
All right. Well, this one boss arena looks very flat, so it seems like the combat's going to be very based around not necessarily. So you're usually like jumping off of walls or using level architecture to work with. It looks like this was going to be more, like I like to call it the white room scenario situation.
You ready to move on?
I was about to say, I think we've said everything we can say about this one.
Yeah.
All right.
It doesn't give us much more than that. I mean, we could start thinking about what the story might be about, but it's just going to be complete speculation at this point.
Let's get that HD resolution. There we go.
Oh yeah.
All right, Hollow Knight clone. Actually, no. Hopefully it's not, but that's what the Reddit's gonna say.
Aren't all of these Hollow Knight clones?
Yes. Every Metroidvania ever is a Hollow Knight clone. There is no exception.
All right, let's watch it and we'll... That one looks the most unpolished of the bunch we've seen today.
Yes.
I think that they just spent with their little down slash, especially. It's the one that sticks out the most.
Yeah.
By the way,
That.
it's not a Hollow Knight clone because the health bar isn't the Kirby style health bar that Hollow Knight has, and you have a mana bar there, which you never used in the trailer, so we don't know what it's used for at this point.
No, they used it once. They use it for a side spell.
Hmm.
Do you like how a
Oh, I
lot of
think
the
so.
backgrounds look in this game?
Yeah, and it looks like there's a lot of branching paths, so that's good. A good sign for the Metroidvania-ness of it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Look at this room
Yeah,
with
there we
4
go.
enemies. 5 enemies on the same screen, all the same kind. Nothing died in one hit that we've seen so far.
The
Yeah.
level design seems kind of amateurish, as many of the levels have looked today.
Well, the level design today, or the level design looks like Aeterna Noctis without the polish. That's what it looks like to me.
But it did
Yeah.
just launch, so that could, if they meet more of their goals, it might turn into something
Sure.
else compared to Aeterna Noctis, which is ready for release in 2
That's
months.
also true.
The-
This is
the-
alpha.
Yeah.
You activated a mechanism text coming up, though, is also not a good sign.
Right.
Like, please
I
don't.
guess it
If
killed
you make a
both of the
game,
two
please don't ever do the you activated a mechanism. I know that I activated a
Castlevania
mechanism.
64 is knocking. It wants its
It's a
it
show
wants
not
its
tell.
mechanic back.
It's a show not tell of game design right there. Is don't just have a text thing come up and
If I
Yeah,
ever
totally
make a
that way.
Metroidvania, I'm gonna have all text. You hit an enemy, it says you killed the enemy. You jumped,
Hey.
it'll tell you you jumped.
Break my aversion.
That
Metroid is
sucks.
actually fun. I'm gonna buy that game at launch when the new version comes out. But yeah, this down slash especially looks
Yes.
extremely. But again, this is like Master pointed out. This is alpha footage. That animation can be cleaned up quite a bit.
Well, I just don't like that it pauses and then does the dive. Like that
Yeah.
makes it so that you have to, like that makes it so the window you can use it against an enemy is a lot tighter.
Yeah,
It makes the combat less dynamic.
Most games with a pogo jump, it comes out instantly.
I hear DuckTales.
Yeah, DuckTales, it doesn't just come out instantly; it just stays out. Like
Yeah, the
Shovel
pogo.
Knight does the same thing.
That's the OG pogo.
I guess you could use the delay as like a air dodge type of thing. Like if you're about to fall onto a projectile, you could do that, and then it looks like you don't fall any faster afterwards. So you
Now,
would be able to avoid some attacks that way.
one thing I'll say about the lack of polish is I don't see a whole lot of jank, which is good. Like it doesn't seem like the actions are the animations are delayed and it doesn't look great, but it also doesn't look like it's unpredictable.
Agreed. Here, let's
Yeah.
read the Kickstarter.
Well, it's almost got its goal, so people believe in it.
Nice.
Which is
So
good.
Yeah.
I do like how the backgrounds look, but I don't really like how the characters look. It kind of just feels like a different art style. Because the backgrounds are like painted looking, and then
That guy
everything
looks
else is flat
creative.
looking.
Hey, we'll see how it develops.
Inspiration. Oh,
Right.
and Journey. Oh, that explains a lot. If
Hollow
it
Knight and
tries,
Journey.
yeah, Journey makes a lot of sense. With the backgrounds and just kind of that elements, I can see.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder to stand out these days, and I
Yeah.
feel like this game is going to have trouble with that unless it. I think if it leans into that story aspect, it could probably overcome its. Although they say lore and not story, so I don't know how that's going to turn out. But
When games say they have good story, they never have good story.
that's not true. Like I like the Iconoclast story a lot. I actually think it's one of the best. I don't know. It's how else would you advertise that? You know, if that's their goal, then they can say that. Whether or not they actually accomplish it is up to the judgment of the players.
Yeah, the
Hey,
kick.
on the Iconoclast Steam page, they do describe the story,
Yeah, they do.
and they don't just say it's a good story. They say
Oh.
it's a personal story about faith, purpose, and the challenge of helping people.
Yes, that's true. It does describe what its main points of the story are.
Yeah, I don't think you should ever describe your game as having a good story. You could say like it's story focused, but
Mhm.
then like
If you want to be
Narrative
short,
driven.
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, there is no map.
Somebody said
no map.
there was. Oh, great.
Here,
Don't
the
expect
cave
a
is
map to
separated
guide you.
into different zones. Each has its own unique art style and atmosphere, different types of enemies, and specific platforming challenges that will make use of your newly acquired abilities. Don't expect a map to guide you through the levels. It's up to you to explore all the maps and offered you in this maze-like environment. So, actually, there could be a map, but there might not be a map in the best way. Or no map at all.
Not having a map is fun and all, but if you have kind of labyrinthine level
You gotta have
design,
good landmarks if you don't have a map.
right?
You nerds, it's time to pull out the old block paper and get going. It's the old school way.
Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. I think that a story is one way it can differentiate itself. Its mechanics aren't really showing up to be particularly impressive just based off of the trailer.
I
but
didn't
it is
see any
just alpha,
mechanics.
so, yeah. What's that?
I didn't see any mechanics.
They have pogoing. Is that a mechanic?
Yeah, That's
I
what,
mean,
it
yeah,
They
It
have,
doesn't
I
have
guess,
any unique mechanics. I guess it's.
it was just a guy walking around hitting things and then shooting things
I guess
They
they
did
How would you
it is
describe
a-
most games?
and then jumping. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, it has a mechanism. That is a mechanical thing.
it's true.
They
In
also
Metroid,
said they'll have gliding.
You'll have lighting.
Gliding, yeah. So kind of like Arya / Donisaro, flying armor.
Mm.
I bring up Castlevania.
Everyone disliked that.
I think you're just sensing me.
Master's hate of Castlevania is overflowing. Alright, should we move on to Backstreet Boys Castlevania?
Oh boy, these
Oh,
bastards.
You said that
It looks
first!
cool.
This
It
is
looks
your
cool.
fault.
It looks cool. I think it looks fantastic.
There's not much to this trailer, but we can do it.
Yeah. At least it's safe for work, right?
Yeah.
For now. Interesting that they did this.
Oh god.
Oh my god. Alright, Castlevania, yeah, with Hot Boys. That is what. Oh, and mixed with Bayonetta, with the hands, the fists.
I think it's important to bring up that it's described as a yaoi game.
Yes, it is.
For the Twitter, so expect that.
Not safe for work.
It seems that your character has time-stopping abilities though, because like he pushes the button and he's like invincible.
I don't like how he activates bullet time every single time the enemy does an attack. It's
And also, it's
annoying.
kind of weird. Like, okay, so when he does this axe attack, it doesn't do damage when the axe comes down. It does it when he like pulls it back.
No,
Well,
I think
when
because
the screen is yellow, he's invincible.
I think what it does is it doesn't if the hilt hits you, it doesn't do damage. It's when the actual blade part hits you. Kind of like with some enemies in Castlevania. If you dodge
also-
Just standing in it. He's like
true.
just standing in the axe.
During
That-
bullet time, this guy doesn't take any damage. Like, he walked into the water and stuff, and it was fine.
Oh yeah.
When the screen turns gold, he's basically invincible at that point.
Just such a, like, overpowered mechanic that you would just use constantly. It doesn't seem to really be...
Yeah,
Like, he's even regenerating MP during it.
This trailer, or I don't know, would you call this a trailer? Or it's just a
Gameplay demo.
spot?
Yeah.
It's definitely not showing that there's going to be a particular level of difficulty to this, or at least it's not balanced. It seems to be very balanced in the favor of the player at this point.
I could download the demo quick and we can try it.
It might be. It might be that like it's kind of like Witch Time in Bayonetta, where you have to like do it at the right time, and then it triggers.
Night Cypher War.
Ooh,
not
here,
Cypher
I'm
War,
gonna-
Do not go there. It said it's a warning. There's a warning on
You're
the,
gonna get
above
your-
the
you're gonna
link.
get your channel banned on
That's the
first day.
patron. Okay. I want the gameplay demo, but I guess I have to support them on Patreon, and I don't want to do that. Damn it. I just wanted my
I wanna
Yowie
give them
boys. Is
money.
that too much to ask?
Oh my god.
But yeah, I'm guessing that the way, like, if you looked at the controls, there was a skill, dodge, and attack and jump. There was no like dedicated time stop button. So what I assume is going on is if you hit dodge at the right time. Okay, there he wasn't attacking, so never mind. I don't know.
I
It's
think
not
as soon as
Witch
the
Time.
screen
happened.
turns gold, you're invincible.
Or maybe
Doesn't
it's
seem
like
like a good mechanic.
maybe if you do it while they're attacking, even if you don't like make contact with the attack.
Speaking of Bayonetta, doesn't Bayonetta have the ability to make giant fists?
I already said
Yeah.
that, yeah. Ew,
So
it's
he's
like you're
just-
not even listening to me.
He's just the male Bayonetta.
Mayonetta.
But
Bayonetta X Castlevania X Backstreet Boys confirmed.
Mayonetta.
Mayonetta! Wait, Mayonetta? Is his powers mayo?
Mayonnaise?
Actually, no, we should not
I
go
mean-
down that route.
Yeah.
Thinking on it, that could get bad real fast.
I just gotta say though, that guy has quite the six pack there.
He has something else, but I will not say it, but Rick and Morty quote. Yeah,
So
the
yeah,
art
that's Paradiso Guardians. It
the
looks like,
art looks good. Like, the sprites are beautiful.
yeah, it looks like an Metroidvania. So it could have that going for it.
You
Yeah, the
said
fact
the
that
same
numbers
about
pop up-
Deedlit.
Yeah. The fact that numbers pop up indicates that it's probably got RPG mechanics.
Sure. No, definitely Igavania vibes. This gameplay trailer doesn't seem to be presenting much of a challenge, but we're also judging it based off of watching somebody else play. Maybe timing the time stop is actually a lot harder than what it seems like is happening.
Yeah, this was done by, I'm pretty sure, a dev.
Character also just barely takes any damage. This is just to demonstrate the mechanics, not the actual balancing, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gameplay
he
demo.
Probably a tutorial boss too.
He got directly hit there, and look at his health bar. I mean, so yeah, it's hard to judge how the gameplay is going to be based off of this small snippet that we're given.
Well, he also has double jump, so I wouldn't say this is a tutorial boss.
But it
God
looks great.
Damn.
Some games start you with double jump.
That's true. Ghosts and Goblins did, and I was very confused. Or Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and I didn't know that. So I was trying to, I was at the first level, and I was stuck for, 10 minutes. I'm like, what do I do? And then I accidentally pressed jump twice. I'm like, are you shitting? This was the answer the whole time.
One of those hidden moves like wall jumping in Super Metroid.
Are you saying you don't just tap the buttons instead of?
Not when I played so many games where double jump is unlocked. I don't think to try jumping twice half the time anymore. I just assume that's something I have to find or acquire.
See, when you play a new Metroidvania every week, even starting a new game, coming out of a fully powered Metroidvania character and going into a completely unpowered Metroidvania character, I always feel like, oh, I don't have my double jump yet.
I know. Double jump
Feels
is
like you're glued to the
best.
floor.
So I realized the character's name is Floody because they flood the arena.
Yep.
His name is Floody?
Yeah.
Yeah, here when you kill him, it shows you.
What?
That can have a couple different meanings, so we're not gonna touch that name, I think.
Okay.
By the way, this is going to be an 18-plus game, so...
Master, don't worry, I'll probably stream this on my own
Please don't.
channel. I will, I'm going to. This and Romancelvania are on my list.
I think
do
I'll
like
stick
the-
with Midnight Castle.
I do like that this game is completely upfront about all its yaoi stuff, though.
People would probably get pretty upset. Imagine if you got halfway through the game and then just suddenly dropped that on you.
Yeah.
I would be
Well, I mean,
very
that's what
interested.
I'm saying, though, is
fast.
that so many games have done that, and then people get really ticked about it, which, that's up to them. But, it's good that it's advertising it, I think.
That's all we gotta say about that one, then.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, this is a pretty limited gameplay demo.
Yeah.
We don't even have any level design to discuss.
Well,
Just a single boss that has 3 attacks.
I mean...
let's look up another random one. We got 20 minutes left. Let's see.
Did we look at Blast Brigade?
No, we did
we
not.
didn't do Blast Brigade.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
it's
played the
not on
Blast
the
Brigade
list.
demo, and I think it has a lot of personality.
Oh. Trailer.
There's the announcement trailer.
There we go.
Yeah, there was a trailer that just came out pretty recently.
Last recruiting commercial, take 9. The world will not protect itself. It's your job. Travel to exciting new places. Meet friendly locals. Join the valiant brotherhood of true heroes.
Wait. Who wrote this crap?
Folks in marketing. Why?
Ugh, it's just not what makes Blast Brigade awesome, you know?
Then how would you put it?
Like guns, explosions, cool spies, more explosions.
Stuff like that, you know?
Can you just read your lines?
Oh,
please, Jeff?
all right.
The Blast Brigade is recruiting patriots. We want you. Enlist today. Save the world. And
Seriously?
Again, marketing department.
That's adorable.
Wow. I hated that trailer and that narrator so much.
I think it's very charming.
Yeah, it's got charm. It's oozing charm. I can see that much.
Now, from the level design that I played through, it was fun, but it was very straightforward. Very Shantae vibes there, where it's very competent, it's very fun, but not necessarily stand out memorable. But what is memorable is just the characters are just funny.
Yeah, it does seem like it's riding pretty hard on the characters being. I don't really know how to describe it that well. Just like the game having personality.
Mm-hmm.
They have great voice actors. They have good writers. From everything we played so far, it was very entertaining to like. That was get to the next cutscene to see what silly thing they were going to do next.
That reminds me of the Messenger. That's what I would do in the Messenger. Like, oh, gotta get to the next shop. Gotta see what the shopkeeper's got for me this time.
Isn't that the weirdest thing? That's like one of the biggest appeals of the game is talking to the stinking shopkeeper.
He's not stupid.
One of the things I hate doing in most games, like waiting for the dialogue, and I'm like, I'm reading all of this.
His stories were always unique and interesting. All right, just saying.
Yeah. So if you have dialogue, just make sure it's fun and like at least entertaining somehow.
Exactly.
And this game definitely has some entertaining dialogue.
It's got the perfect level of camp. I mean, the villain is this mad scientist who's just like, I am evil and I love it, type thing. And
Dracula style.
The main character is literally sleeping on the airplane when it starts. He like wakes up and has a choice between his parachute and his gun, and he grabs his gun and just lands on a minion, and that's the only reason why he survives the fall, even though that wouldn't work. I'm like, yeah, it's a good thing he's made of steel. But anyway, it's very much your Saturday morning cartoon, and it just revels in that, and it's got a charm to it.
Yeah, like the demo doesn't really go beyond just this guy, like main character. So I'm kind of curious what the other ones are like.
Yeah, obviously the one lady has the grappling hook. Now, one thing I'll say about character switching is that it's rarely done great. Like Astalon's one of the few examples where it's really well done. Technically, Monster Boy isn't character switching, but it's effectively the same thing. It does a pretty good job with it, so it'll be interesting to see how this one handles the character switching.
It seems like you need to beat them to collect them.
Yeah, that's Circle the Moon. Not Circle the Moon. Curse of the Moon. Sorry. Wrong COTM. But that was pretty much the same. Beat the boss, collect them, and then character switching, for me at least, was always nice. Because if you're gonna die as another character, you can quickly switch to another one that you don't care about.
So this game, at least that spy lady is somebody you have to fight. I don't know if I think they show you fighting her in this trailer.
Yes, they do.
But I don't know about the others. It looks like you have a spy lady who has the grappling hook, and then you have some guy with it looks like a taser hand or something. Like if you look at the title screen at the end, and then you have Ninja Girl. It looks like Ninja Girl, except she's wearing all white because that's what ninjas should wear.
I think I saw something where she's like some islander, so they decided to do the like stereotypical native thing.
This game is not ashamed of taking every stereotype it can.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's kind of charm to it. The other guy looks kind of like James Bond. I wonder if that's what he's supposed to be.
I'll pause on the end screen.
Didn't you meet him in the demo? And he's like,
I don't recall.
He was like complaining about you being unprofessional or something like that. Oh, wait, no, that I was thinking of the like scientist guy.
I say James Bond, but I only say that because he's wearing a tuxedo. It looks like, or he's wearing a suit.
That guy is 100% Edward Elric, and Scottish Edward Elric, mind you, and no one can change my mind.
What?
And that lady on the left has a chakram, so I bet you that she has a boomerang type move as her main thing.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the spy on the right, her only shtick is that grappling hook.
No, she had a rifle.
Did she have a rifle? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how the main character is going to be differentiated from the rest of them. I mean, he has the grenade launcher that lets you get down the brigade or the blockades that block you otherwise.
Yeah, I'm sure he's just going to be all about blowing everything up.
The question is this actually a Metroidvania?
It was fairly linear from what we played, but you do backtrack and there are things that you can get. So I don't know. There was signs of ability getting. The grappling hook was definitely necessary to get places. So it was just the demo.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if it winds up feeling a lot like a Shantae game.
I think it's probably going to be closer to Shantae, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Like the level design grade is about Shantae levels. So I think if you enjoy what Shantae has to present, then I think you'll probably be satisfied with this.
I can see that people would like this game. It looks cute. Probably not a game for me though.
Master hates cute things.
Well, if you're looking for just mechanics, the demo didn't really give me a huge like it was going to do anything different or unique or memorable from the mechanical standpoint. So there's that.
Yeah,
but it definitely has a great theming.
Yeah, this is probably going to be a mindless fun kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think it's trying to present itself as anything else.
But it seems like it's executing well on that.
Yeah, it's not lying about it, and it is executing well on that. If you enjoy the camp, then you will enjoy this game. And again, that's the appeal of Shantae as well as the camp and the personality of it. So
yeah,
I still need to try a Shantae. I've never played one.
Pirate's Curse reminds me of a Zelda game.
It's like, crest-like.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that literally the boat crest-like?
Yeah, it's probably the best one too. So,
well, I haven't played anything past it, so I can't really say it's the best one. But but there's 5 or is there 6 now?
I know.
So Pirates Curse is 3.
Yeah, there was Risky's Revenge is the second one. Half Genie Hero was like a kind of a linear platformer, and then Seven Sirens.
Okay, there's not another one after Seven Sirens, right?
That was the latest one.
Okay.
Aggressive typing.
I was typing as lightly as I could. Oh yeah, okay, so there's 5 of them now.
I'm gonna go back to the trailers and I'll have this one on loop.
Yeah.
While we're talking for the last 8 or so minutes.
So yeah, no, it's fun to look at the trailers and kind of judge them.
We all kind of ripped into Aeterna Noctis though. Like we just kind of shat on that game and then like no other game.
So out of all these trailers, what are we looking forward to the most?
I think this one for me because I am a sucker for the 8-bit theme.
Yeah, probably this one as well.
I think I'm interested in Blast Brigade. Yeah, I know it's gonna be dumb fun, but sometimes that's. I haven't played a dumb fun game in a while.
Blast Brigade is probably one of the best. It looks like it's really polished.
Yeah.
No, I think that if you have a love for just mindless good fun, I think Blast Brigade is definitely one that you should wish list. Based off what I played on that trailer, the demo, I think that it's going to deliver on everything it promises to do and nothing that it doesn't.
You blast
Um,
things. That's the game.
As far as what I'm looking forward to most out of what we saw tonight, this is definitely a candidate. But to be honest, I'm the most curious about the mirror reflection one, or the Chinese one. What was the name of
Oh,
that one? Shimmer in the
Afterimage.
Mirror.
Hmm.
Oh, Afterimage.
Yep.
There's another one called Glimmer in the Mirror. That's what I'm getting mixed up with.
Oh, yeah.
Afterimage. Mostly because I'm just curious what it's going to be about. Like, it seems like it has a story focus. I really like the art. It seems like it would be pleasant to play, even if it was just kind of bonkers, bit poorly translated, poorly localized. But that's the one I'm the most curious about. I think that if I were to guess which one I would enjoy the most from a mechanical standpoint, I think Sono is probably the. That's what this one's called, right? Sono's Quest or something.
Yeah, or this one
Or
is
Silent Santicado.
here. Silence Santicado.
Oh, Silent Santicado. Which one was? Oh, Sono was the other one. Okay, never
Yeah,
mind.
Souno was the bird one.
Yeah, okay. So we kept switching to the bird one, so maybe that's why I got that stuck in my head. Okay, so Silent Santicado. Seems like it would be the one that would be the most fun to play from a mechanical standpoint.
Mhm.
Out of the bunch.
Yeah.
Also, it wasn't very nice of him to cut off that statue's head, especially since the statue has blood for some reason.
Statue had it coming, obviously. It shouldn't have been in the path of that sword.
I kind of wonder how big the game will be. I don't know, for some reason, whenever there's a game kind of themed like this game is themed, 8-bit or whatever, they're really short.
Yeah.
Yeah, which kind of sucks, because, like, the style
Maybe a
is
long
beautiful.
one. Like, not long one, just an average length one.
Well, like I said,
Always
this one's
like-
giving me Momodora vibes.
Yeah, that was pretty short.
Yeah. I think it'll be good. I like Momodora a lot.
Yeah.
I'll probably replay Momodora again just because it's so short and it's easy to pick up. I actually really like short games for that reason, because just like, yeah, I like this game. It's good, nostalgic, and I'll play it for a couple hours on the weekend and have a good time. That's what I do with Mega Man all the time.
I used to do that with Symphony of the Night, but Symphony of the Night for me is hard to sit down and play. I know everything in it. There's nothing new.
That's how I got with
sucks.
Dark Souls.
So
right
you're
where
saying
to go to sit down and sleep in the chair.
you're telling me that you would like it better if it was randomly generated levels?
No, I'm saying it would be better if there's a new Igavania. I love Igavanias, and I wish there's another Symphony of the Night.
We haven't done that with Bloodstained yet, have you?
I've beaten that one 3 times.
Come on,
Did
you gotta
you-
make it.
Did you play it with the randomizer?
No, I don't care about the randomizer. I don't
Actually, I
like
think-
randomizer.
I love randomizers. After playing Zelda X Super Metroid, I actually really like the idea of randomizers. Now, I don't like the idea of being forced to bomb jump. But...
Yeah, no, that was bull. I'm like, what do you like watching that? Is that the one where you jumped up and hit the worm too? Like it shot at you?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Which will be forever immortalized in our intro.
On the plus side, though, I'm much better at bomb jumping in all those games now.
Did you bomb jump in Cat Maze?
Does
Because
Cat
you
Maze
could.
have bomb jumping? I didn't
Oh, wait.
realize that. You think?
Wait, no. It wasn't Cat Maze. It was The Witch and the 66 Mushrooms.
I actually haven't played that one. That was they got buried. That got buried in the flood. This year's been a flood of Metroidvanias, which is part of the problem for something like Sono, that you just really gotta fight now to be noticed.
Yeah.
It's not like 20 years ago when you can release a game about a bouncing ball that stops a mad scientist from freezing the world.
Guess I could play the outro.
Yes.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Pantheon of the Artist.
Yeah, so this is the second Pantheon in Hollow Knight. Just me doing a blind playthrough of it.
What a nerd.
Who would do such a thing?
Wretch, thou hast ordained thine own destruction.
Well, welcome to season 2 of the Metroidvania Podcast.
Ooh. Yeah, you better come back as a guest. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Take as much time as you need.
Yes.
Well, there will always be a slot for you.
Well, I appreciate you guys, and I'm glad that you're keeping it going.
Yeah.
I mean, I never considered this my thing. I've always tried to. I probably shouldn't have had it on my channel in the first place, to be quite honest. But I'm glad that that you're carrying the torch. Oh, hey, it's this guy that killed me because I stabbed him.
Don't like getting stabbed?
The title of when we did the Let's Play of this, the title of the YouTube version of it was pro-life advice. Don't stab people until you at least talk to them first.
That guy was literally flying armor with 4 swords instead of 1. Or 2, depending on if it's the boss version or not.
Is that a Castlevania thing?
Yes.
Oh my god.
It's literally
This is why we need Atcero to balance you out.
What does Master bring up all the time?
I didn't
Lamulana.
bring things up.
Yeah.
Just sit here silently.
Lamulana and Metroid.
It was coming back to Dark Souls all the time, is what it was.
All I'm saying, I mean, that's the first boss in Dawn of Sorrow. Technically, the second boss, I believe, in Aria of Sorrow. And was a common enemy in, I believe, 2 or 3 other games. Not like they were uncommon in the Castlevania series either.
I'm just watching the Pantheon at this point.
This game, like, for how much people say that this game's really hard, it is very forgiving in the amount of damage you can take.
Oh, sure.
It is.
I think that's what it boils down to. It's the same. It's the same with Dark Souls too. It's what I said when I fought Nightmare King Grim. He's hard. I'm not going to say he's not, but they also put on the appearance of difficulty a lot more than, like, they do a good job presenting that it's difficult. So it gives you that psychological feeling that it's hard when it actually isn't as hard as you're making it most of the time.
Some people are just bad at Hollow Knight.
Well, Nightmare King Grim doesn't really give you a chance to heal, like, except for very small circumstances. And it also does 2 damage with every hit.
Mm.
Yeah,
So,
that part's rough.
Whereas, like, you can, against most bosses, you can just opt to not attack and heal yourself instead.
Right. I've kind of gotten to the point where I don't like healing in this game.
It gives you an interesting choice, at least.
Sure.
Where it's like, do I want to deal damage or do I want to heal? Or do I want to take a risk right now? Like, you gotta, like, find the spots where you can heal.
I like how this is a boss. The Oblobbles.
I like just spamming my spells whenever there's more than one enemy as a boss to fight.
Yeah, I don't use spells nearly as much as I should.
I relied on spells to get me through everything once I got that down smash, essentially. That's all I used. It is so useful.
Yeah, I use spells as long as I'm not taking damage.
I'm pretty sure I fought this boss in the worst way possible, where I did 0 damage to one of them before killing the other.
See, if you spam spells, you'll kill both at the same time.
This is how I got through some of the bosses in Dread, though.
Just spamming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's how Metroid works if you have a ton of missiles. Energy.
I went through my missiles many a time. It's okay, Salmaze. We'll have more of these, of course.
Yep.
Next week.
This will continue on a weekly basis, and it's no longer be tied to Wednesday night necessarily. So, or whatever time it is for everybody else. So I think it'll be good, and yeah, I am likely going to be back. I'll at least be back for the game nights.
Yes, which those are we thinking about doing those on the weekends now?
Seems better.
Yeah.
Because then people from Europe can join in and stuff.
Yeah, we'll probably do them Saturday afternoons.
Okay.
US time.
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever's best for everybody.
Make everyone bipolar party.
That was actually why we started doing the Saturday streams originally, is because certain people in Europe thought it was a better time for them. So
Mantis Lord is just kicking your ass.
it's only one of them too.
You must be patient.
I came into this fight with like 3 or 4 masks.
Okay.
Because
Plenty
that
of
last
masks.
boss, I had like 1 hit left when he killed him.
There you go. Now you have more shit to hit. Then it's better.
Yeah.
Mantis Lords are just fun to watch.
It's a great boss. It's one of the best.
I thought
bosses
they were,
in the
yeah,
game.
they were actually pretty fun to fight once I got their rhythm.
I think this is maybe probably one of the great examples of a 2D platformer boss fight in general.
It annoys me that you don't just stand in the middle.
And jump straight up. Oh, there's one dead.
Well, yeah. Like it's not hard to dodge the throws, but you're making it really hard to dodge the throws.
Well, anybody that got raided over from the other channel, make sure you subscribe to this one. This is the one that's going to be the most active. The other channel is going to basically be defunct at this point. There may be the occasional random stream on it. Just because Nick and I like hanging out, and it'd be fun to do some things.
And if we get to 50 viewers, we get whatever it is, affiliate.
Yeah, so definitely support our Metroidvania podcast, and I may be on here in the future.
Yeah, we'll probably try to get guests on more often. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Always hit me up in the server, cause yeah, we can get that checked out. I've never had anyone complain about that actually in any of my streams, so let's get that addressed. Just in case. Yeah, I want to call it a night.
Yeah.
Yep, we don't have to watch this whole thing.
Yeah, wasn't
when
it
do you
like
die?
it was a gig's file size?
It was 16 minutes.
Jeez, yeah.
I wanted to make sure we had enough, alright?
No, that is fair. I'm not judging you. Much.
Spoilers, I win in the end.
Oh.
Damn.
Of course you wouldn't send it without being successful.
First try, yeah!
Damn, that is impressive. You get a round of applause. Oh, of course. Dropbox
Well,
decided
it's been
to
fun,
notify
everyone.
me.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna miss you. Come back, please. In your own time, of course.
Yeah.
But please come
Sure,
back.
We don't know what to do.
We need an actual adult to do this stream. Come on, we're both 3 children half the time when we talk about games.
You know, that's one reason why everybody should subscribe, though, because it's going to be very unpredictable at this point.
We now allow swearing. I've sworn like 5 times tonight. Still not that much, but more than I used to.
And I didn't even notice.
I hate this boss. Alright.
Saying like
Oh,
we're gonna leave and then we're just still watching the
This is-
footage.
This is such a Midwestern goodbye, and I love it.
Slap our knees and stand
Well-
up.
Well,
Guess I'll be going then.
gotta grab another beer from the fridge first, though, you know?
Anyway, thanks for watching.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Night.
Goodbye.